What's up, Gator Nation? Zach Albaverdi, joined by Andy Staples of On 3, and we are bringing you our rapid reaction following Florida's 27-16 win over the Tigers in the Swamp. Andy, this was a game that Florida needed. This is a game that the Tigers needed.
Yeah.
And it was 13-13 after three quarters. It was a really good game. And
was it though?
Well, competitive.
Let me put it this way. I was cruising the Gators online message boards, and I was cruising the Bengal Tiger message boards, and it sure seemed like everybody wanted everybody fired for about the first three quarters.
There was some of that for sure.
The worm started to turn for the Gators fans really when they started getting some third down stops. I think the play where they sacked Nussmeier and stripping, and then Emory Jones looking like an athlete.
Yeah, he did.
So I was like, oh my God, they've not stopped him on third and long all night. Emory Jones is going to pick up this ball and run for a first down.
Moving.
And then he gets the ball knocked away. They take over on the LSU 35.
Shout out to Caleb Banks.
Immediately false start and go 3 and out. And I was like, oh, man. But you know what? The defense came right back, stopped him again.
Another sack.
And got the ball back to DJ Lagway, which he's got the ball in his hands. Florida has a chance.
Yeah, he was special tonight. Not 100%, but DJ at 75, 80% was much better than what they had last week at Texas. Jaden Baugh, Jacoby Jackson come up in the fourth. Elijah Badger, another 100-yard game. But the defense, Nussmeier had been sacked 6 times all season. He was sacked 7 times tonight.
I know. When they took him out and put A.J. Swan in, I was like, well, I don't have to change the story if they sack A.J. Swan. I had it written they sacked Nussmeier 6 times.
Yeah.
And then they bring Nussmeier back in to get sacked again.
Yep.
And it's just, that's 2 NFL offensive tackles in Will Campbell and Emory Jones. They did a really good job. Florida did a great job. This is not a Florida team that has been great at pressuring the passer all season. And we're not great at it most of this game. Well, probably the first 2.5 quarters of this game.
Yeah, second half they unleashed.
Because I want to say, 6 of the 7 sacks came after the middle of the third quarter.
Yeah, they just started. And then it was series after series. They kept coming home. It was impressive. And then also on the other end, Florida didn't give up any sacks. They kept Lagway relatively.
You asked him an interesting question because you said you were moving around well in the pocket. How healthy are you? And he said I was healthy enough to move around in the pocket, and that's all I can say. And that's really what it was. Like really economical in the pocket. Like you look at those. We know how mobile DJ is when he's healthy.
Yep.
But it's almost like you look at those old school NFL quarterbacks that didn't run that well, but just had that sense of here I can move this way, I can move this way. And the throw to Elijah Badger is a great example because you have both edges have beaten their guys. Yep. So both edges are closing in on him. And then Greg Penn, the third, is twisting around. He was blitzing. He was going to blitz through the A gap to DJ's left. It was clogged, so he goes to the B gap to DJ's right. And he's coming right at DJ. And as DJ starts to release the ball, he puts his hands around DJ's waist. So, DJ is not – his feet are not set. He's just – but that's it. He just flips the wrist. And it goes 36 yards to Elijah Badger. I mean, we were trying to talk in the press box about, in terms of skill sets, like what Florida quarterbacks have been able to do something.
Probably the guy that was here tonight.
Rex Grossman, maybe not. Rex,
flick of the wrist.
Rex couldn't power the ball down the field like
correct.
That. Rex was incredibly accurate, feathery touch.
Yeah.
Like DJ will have to develop all of that.
Sure.
But in terms of just being able to power the ball down the field and throw a catchable ball to someone running in stride.
Yeah.
DJ's got, as a freshman, more than anybody that's ever been here.
I mean, remember the throw to Mizell at Sanford. Mm-hmm. Shane Matthews said it was one of the greatest throws he'd ever seen.
Shane, who was great at hitting guys in stride, by the way. Like, he's one of the ones that we're talking about here. And that's the thing that I think is so interesting. And I wrote this when you got the announcement that Scott Strickland said, okay, Billy Napier is staying. It almost doesn't matter who coaches the team as long as DJ's on the team. And if it takes Billy Napier to keep DJ, then you keep DJ, because here's the thing about college football in the year of our Lord 2024. The transfer portal guys want to come play with a quarterback that they know can win games for them.
Yep.
Florida has a quarterback that will excite receivers, offensive linemen, even guys who play on the other side of the ball.
Oh, and they can sell Badger and DK and what those two have been able to do, improve their draft.
And let's be real here. Florida's fairly limited receiver right now. They don't have a super deep receiving core. So they've taken what these guys are doing with DJ. Imagine they're not going to have Ohio State's receiving core. I don't think even I don't think there's enough money in the transfer portal to buy that.
They tried to get Jeremiah already.
But let's say they could get something similar to what Ole Miss has this year.
Yeah.
Trey Harris, Juice Wells, Jordan Watkins.
Have a caliber.
I mean, it's terrifying if you think about it that way.
Well, and they're going to be able to track those players because of DJ Lagway and
right. I don't think they can. Like, that's the thing I've been arguing with people about, because I don't think those players care who coaches the team for the next 3 years or whatever.
or who's the offensive coordinator.
Right. A lot of those guys are one-year rentals. They're like, who can I play with who can make me look good?
Yeah. And Badger's been made to look good by.
Yeah.
I mean, he was not averaging. Now he's going to lead the country in yards per reception after tonight's game. So, and Lagway talked about it after that vote of confidence from Strickland. He had recruits hitting him up about, okay, what's the future hold? What's going on next year? This was a big weekend for Florida in terms of recruiting. They had so many top targets in town for this game. I think they had put all their chips into this basket and kind of worked. Look, next week's going to be a tough game.
Right.
But
I
this
was joking
changes
with
the
some.
dynamic.
I went to the Brian Kelly press conference. I'm going to do an LSU story later, but I was joking with some of the LSU beat writers and saying, they may just want to sit DJ out, let the Ole Miss game happen, and then unleash him on Florida State. Because Ole Miss is really. I was on the field in Oxford last week when they played Georgia. This is one of the most talented teams in the country, if not the most talented team in the country. It's a huge challenge if DJ is limited mobility wise. It's going to be, and that's the thing. This LSU team has some good pieces. I'm not sure how good of a team it is.
They're flawed.
There's a really strong. They're playing Vandy next week, and this is in Baton Rouge. They're saying how many empty seats are going to watch a potentially soul-crushing loss to Vanderbilt at Tiger Stadium. That's where they're at, right? And it's crazy because this is college football comes at you fast, Zach. About a week ago, we were sitting there going, well, if LSU beats Alabama, then they're going to make the college football playoff, and they're probably going to play in the SEC championship game. And now it is, how are they going to beat Vanderbilt and Oklahoma and avoid going 6-6?
Yeah, it's amazing how the tables have turned that quick.
And Florida's going to, if Florida loses to Ole Miss, which, I'm probably not going to pick Florida against Ole Miss. I did pick Florida against LSU. Probably not going to pick Florida against Ole Miss.
It's a tough one.
But I think they could beat Florida State, obviously. And then they're talking about a bowl game, talking about 15 more practices for DJ Lagway and company. I know it's probably not making anybody happy to think about the Liberty Bowl or wherever that is.
Sure.
But start trying to find some silver linings here is what I would say, because it does seem like they're resolute in what they're going to do with Billy Napier. But again, you saw what might happen if this number 2
can
play quarterback.
The potential's there.
Yeah.
This was a rivalry game, too. We know Billy's record in rivalry games, and I think that was another thing that's important about this outcome is he's now gotten a win over Tennessee and LSU. And if you weren't going to be contending for the playoff, if you weren't going to have a win total that satisfied fans, you better be beating your rivals. They lost to Miami to open the season, almost got it done against Tennessee and Georgia. Now if you can close out the season with wins over LSU and FSU, that makes Florida fans feel better going into
Well, I also think Billy Napier handled this part of it well when he was up at this, at this spot earlier. Didn't make it sound like they won the Super Bowl, because they haven't.
No.
They beat a very flawed team. That's what really happened. But there was a time in the Billy Napier era, which is probably about a month ago, that they wouldn't have beaten that flawed team. They would have found a way to lose.
Yeah.
And they found a way to win. And the defense, especially, it was having a terrible game. It actually started off it was so interesting.
They were 10 for 14 on third down.
And they stopped them on the first 3 third downs. There were 3 third and ones. They stuffed them on all of them. Then they got one of the fourth downs.
Right.
And then that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
For the middle part of the game.
Yeah, that was third and long, too.
Yes, they were talking 3rd and 12. The 3rd and 12 where they ran up the middle, it was like, oh my God.
Is Todd Grantham out there?
Wow, that's not a Todd Grantham play. They would blitz 9 and then they hit an 80-yard pass on that play. But it was just incredible to see them flip a switch. And look, they could have, because they had to have been tired. Defense had to be pretty tired because they played against 92 plays tonight.
That's ridiculous to see that disparity between the play count. It was like that whole game.
Yeah, somebody like Brian Kelly asked his SID during the press conference, what was our time of possession? And Michael Bennett goes 41 minutes and 18 seconds or whatever it was. And Brian Kelly just what?
Yeah, that's got to be tough to swallow as a coach. And but look, this now sets Florida up for bowl eligibility.
Yeah, they should beat Florida State. Let's be real about it.
They have to beat Florida State.
Listen. You can send out all the Twitter announcements you want. If that game goes the wrong way for Florida, I think everybody's going to want something different. But the team that played tonight can beat Florida State. The team that played tonight can be in the bowl game. And then Florida's going to be a different team. But number 2 will be the quarterback of that different team.
Yep. And you got pieces coming back on offense and defense to build around him, but you got to go portal hunting. You got to get some big-time recruits landed here before signing.
Yeah, Scott in the chat says recruits, and there were quite a few in town today.
There were a ton of recruits in town. They had 5 stars. They had flip targets, and this is the type of performance that you want to put on in front of those guys.
You're going to see a ton of flips, and this is something that the Florida folks have understood. The high school recruiting in the 25 cycle is going to be difficult with Billy's future up in the air. Now that it is mostly decided, I think. I feel like it's decided. They can throw a bunch of money at some people. Remember, revenue sharing is coming next year. Everybody's going to be throwing money at these guys. They're going to be finding money, not just Florida, but everybody else. You're going to see so many flips over the next 3 weeks. Like, just get ready. It is going to be absolute pandemonium in terms of flips. So guys who maybe you didn't even know were looking at Florida are suddenly going to get, a phone call and go, "Oh, I'm suddenly very interested."
Yeah. And I think that they've seen what that's done for other teams.
Yes.
When you play like that, they got to do it in the portal as well. But I really think having Lagaway and some of these guys that they can lean on, probably Tramel Jones too. He's, of all the guys that visited, he's the one to watch. And if you get a quarterback committed, we know what that can do for a recruiting class once he starts hitting guys up and trying to rally folks. His teammate French out of Jacksonville.
Well, Jamie French is a special receiver, and he's been committed to Texas for a while, but
it's a long ways away once signing day gets close. Solomon Thomas, another former or current FSU commit that was with Jones in that class. So we'll see how it shakes out. This was needed though. For Florida.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine if this had gone the other way, if the defense had kept giving up 3rd and 4th downs and LSU had been able to score a couple more times and get a stop, we would be here saying, did Florida make the right decision? And that's how thin the margin is in college football. That's because, like I said, I think they feel pretty comfortable in their decision right now. But again, when you have that guy at quarterback, one more guy we probably should mention, Trace Mack.
Oh yeah,
50-plus yard bombs.
And that 55-yarder, he had some leg on that one.
Well, and they also the 55-yarder was at a time when you felt like, okay, they've squandered another scoring chance. They're just they're going to give this a shot, but it's probably not going to work, and that changed.
Yeah,
I think the tone of the game.
It did, and then also Jeremy Crawshaw had a really significant punt in the game. Florida special teams, man.
They did have 12 guys on the field early in the game on a special teams unit.
That's just become a statement.
I started looking for the mat. I was like, did they take the mat off the field? No, the mat was still there.
So even that can't stop it from happening.
No, listen, nobody's perfect.
Listen, I don't think anybody's going to be on message boards and calling up Steve Russell's show tonight about that, though.
As somebody in the chat said that Whiskey and Wine was going off. If you guys don't know what Whiskey and Wine is, it's my friend T-Bob Abear, who played center at LSU, and Matt Moscona, who's a radio host with T-Bob in Baton Rouge. So they do a post-game show on YouTube, so it's completely uncensored, where they just get hammered and complain. And it is spectacular when LSU loses. So if you haven't watched them, get your fill of Gators stuff tonight. Tomorrow morning, go back and watch that YouTube stream. You will laugh your ass off.
For sure. Well, Andy, I appreciate you coming through.
My pleasure, Zach.
Joining us on a rapid reaction. And the Gators get to 5 wins on the year, 1 away from bowl eligibility. Back in the swamp next week for the Lane Kiffin game.
The subplots just keep coming.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We're looking forward to it. Andy will be previewing it all week on his show. Make sure you guys follow along with all of his work at On3. We'll have all of your coverage from this game at Gators Online. Until next time, I'm Zach Amaverdi for Andy Staples. See you guys later.
Very professional. That was a hell of a sign-off.